Hey guys, Tim the Wilder here, bringing you a basic tactics video. Today we are going to look at a domination game and the flank overload tactic. So this is a Slanesh versus Greenskins game against my teammate B6. B6 is a pretty strong player. They're not like absolutely top tier, but they're quite experienced. They know how to play the game. And in this game, it's going to be a bit of a blowout, which is not the point. We're showing this game just to like work through a level 1 tactic. So this is a really common setup. It is often the case that somebody takes a static defensive formation. They kind of spread out their lines, and we're going to show you the most basic and easy way to exploit that, and talk a little bit about how they should counterplay. So loading in really quick, we've got right now like a reasonably meta Slanesh army, some skirmishers to go get like initial field control, Forsaken, which are very strong, you know, your middle tier heavy infantry. We have a Keeper of Secrets with Pit for elite infantry and Melkoth for cav, and then it's pretty kitted out. It's got like the Mortis, it's got the heal, the Rampage, just overall an expensive but very strong lord that we need to play carefully with, but if we can suppress ranged assets and get it into melee, it tends to shred. B6 has done a slightly unconventional thing with Goblin Archers, but otherwise this is like your typical Greenskins 20 stack. Caster, bunch of efficient chaff infantry, Grom, who's pretty good right now. And they've deployed in a big flat formation, so this is the thing we're going to be talking about. In competitive play, a lot of the time you don't want to do a completely flat formation because it opens up some positional weaknesses in the flank. And you'll want to do various forms of hinging, like getting concave and convex formations depending on the situation. So our build is designed to create the opportunity for a flank overload. What we want to do is run in with the skirmishers and kind of pick at the edges of things, and we're trying to get them to overextend or overcommit to one side, and then we'll try to take advantage of a local positional weakness. So there's this concept of concentration of force, and the idea is just like if you can get a lot of your army to fight a small portion of their army, then you have an advantage in damage, and you can snowball that into winning the game. We've got a Skaven video previously on the channel where we do this in land battles. We're going to do it in Dom here. So looking at his formation, we're immediately seeing if we just like run up the center with all this stuff, we're gonna die. You know, he's got like a pretty good depth. You know, his ranged assets are reasonably placed. They should probably be a little more staggered, so they can support each other. But otherwise, you know, this is like he's got a cone of death like right here. And if we just go right up the center, you know, he'll bring in cav around the flanks. All his things will be shooting. It's bad. What we can do though is take our more elite things and look for an opportunity to like collapse here or here, and you know put more stuff and more gold in that spot, and then he'll need to like move things in to catch up and maybe get the pieces jumbled. And while that's all happening, we'll have an opportunity to do a lot of damage. So that's how we're set up. We're going to try to get that to happen. So looking at this, we're just keeping our lord safe from his snipe. So while you're doing this like dance early in the game, it's really important not to take a lot of damage. So knowing what ranged assets and what poke assets they have is a big deal. In this case, we haven't seen his caster, so we know he's got a magic missile spell, which this does not like to see. So we're just kind of chilling and hiding, poking. The other thing we're doing is trying to get enough cav and infantry to actually do some damage. So we want to wait a little while. And he's not really extending. We've got 2 of the points, so there's no time pressure on us. So we can kind of just hang out. And now we see what this video is about. So he hasn't reacted to our movement. And so he's got all this stuff down here. And then, you know, half his army is up here. So we want to get as much as we can of our army, 2/3, 3/4, to be able to go in up here. And hopefully have some time where these things are dead. So we're going to like swing up. And when you're flank overloading, if they start reacting, you can do some things to try to force the issue. Like you can swing a small, like 1 infantry and 1 horseman over to the side, and kind of like feint commit. And you know sometimes that provokes a reaction where they move some of their secondary line and assets that way, and then that can be a way. But to go. But if they're just like flat like this and they don't react at all, you just need to like swing around with a bunch of stuff and then punch. So that's what we're going to try to do. So you can see we're kind of like slowly rearranging. We're trying to set it up so that our stuff arrives all at approximately the same time. And we're bringing out the elite damaged piece, trying to kind of arc it around his range so that he can't get shots on it. And then this thing will just mortise away and terror out things off the edge of the map here is the objective. So he hasn't reacted, meaning we've been able to exploit the weakness. What he probably should have been doing is doing a denied flank where, like, you know, he's got his flank here, we're trying to get it. He can pull back to here and kind of like maintain a line so he can like move. He can do a number of things, but one thing they can do is sort of just match us. Another they can do is like move some of these things into like a secondary line here. So they know we're going to dive. We're like telegraphing it by swinging all these things up, and they can just like reconcentrate their position with the expectation that we come into it. So there's lots of things they can do. But it's all around the premise of force concentration. Like, you want your damage pieces to be doing damage when the fight happens. In this case, B6 doesn't really react, so now we're like, okay, great, we've got, give or take, 3/4 of our gold in position to fight. So we dive with everything. It's a little clumpy, but we know, we've seen the magic missiles, so we know there's not a spell punish here. And what we're trying to do is avoid him getting too much damage on the big mortis. So yeah, we just kind of overload the cav, use our abilities. We're using like one piece to shut down the range so he can't shoot into our squishy damage dealers. And we kind of just roll from here. Like, it looks like they've got a gold lead, but they don't. That's like initial shooting from our engage. And now it's just a snowball. So you can kind of see we got like most of our stuff fighting. Well, he had a significant number of pieces out of position for a bit, and then some of them like never really got in the fight. And we generate a large advantage, and it's a total blowout. So that's kind of the basics of it. That's a flank overload. This will come up in pretty much any game. You're really just looking for like a flat formation, and then you can plan around it and try to blow up one side. And then as a defensive player, you know, you can react by seeing it coming and not exposing like a single soft point for them to attack. We'll fast forward, watch the rest of the game real quick, and B6 concedes. Let's take a quick look at damage on things, then we'll wrap this one up. So the Mortis did great, you know, full health, still chugging, terror routing stuff, rampaging things. Forsaken did alright, Skirmishers did fine. They're like getting value and they still have health left. So everything did fine, basically. Build is fine. It came down a lot more to the tactic than like the specific unit choices, and then you can see very few things in the Greenskins army are getting their value. A cav probably charged some of our cav. Okay, that's it. Hopefully this was helpful. If you like this kind of content, remember to subscribe. See you all later.